had a couple of good talks with people inside the organization yesterday. People who really care deeply about the franchise. I got to tell you, they're in some pretty good spirits. Good morning to you. Good Friday morning. I'm Dejan Kovacevic of DK Pittsburgh Sports. This is Daily Shot of Penguins, and it comes your way bright and early every weekday if you're into football and or baseball. I also offer daily shots of Steelers and Pirates in the same place that you found this. Yes, of course, they're happy about the thing you think that they're happy about. That trade, that Rutger McGroarty trade, was exactly what was needed throughout the figurative heartbeat of the Pittsburgh Penguins. That is not to overstate what this kid's going to do. That's not to overstate what he's going to do right away, certainly. And I swear to you, even though all 5 episodes this week in various forms have been centered on him, I'm not trying to contribute to any kind of pressure or expectations or any of that. But I do feel it's meaningful that people are smiling who haven't been smiling in a while. People are looking forward to the coming season rather than dreading the end of an era or the end of multiple eras or the inevitable decline or the next, this one's my favorite, the next Generation X when all the Rico Fata, Ramsey Abid, and Dick Tarnstrom references come back. This kid isn't going to solve any of that himself, but what he does, what McGroarty does, is he embodies actual hope. He's part of what the Penguins want to be, want to build. First and foremost, while Sidney Crosby's still here, while Sid's still great, to try to surround him with, players exactly like this. Skilled, energetic, physical, top 6 capable, team-oriented. But then from there, to let Sid kind of launch, well, I'll just go right ahead and use the term, the next generation. Not Generation X, but the next generation. Whoever that might be. Back around the time when the whole Generation X thing was happening, and I covered that team full time for the Post-Gazette, it's funny in hindsight how there were more pieces in place than anybody realized, even through the 18-game losing streak, 0-17-0-1 that team had the year before the Sid draft. A baby-faced Marc-Andre Fleury was on that team. Brooks Orpik was on that team. Anyone who was following the Penguins back then knows that the roots of a championship were in place while things were actually at their darkest. This episode is brought to you by Bet Online, your number one source for all your summer sports needs this season, from Major League Baseball, golf, NHL, NBA playoffs. Get the latest odds and lines, including all team matchups, player props, odds on just about everything that's out there. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to get in on the action. Bet Online, where the game starts. Well, they don't have to get dark like that again for as often as people bring it up. There wasn't a salary cap until the season after the one I'm citing, but there is now. What you need to get to build for the long term are pieces like McGroarty, like maybe Owen Pickering, like maybe a couple of the recent picks, maybe like Yoel Blomqvist and Sergei Murashov in goal. I'm already at a handful. From there, you keep the picks you have, and you try to acquire more. Kyle Dubas, among other things in this magnificent summer for him, has added 7 picks. Did you know this? 7 in the last 5 months. That's a full draft class. There aren't any first-rounders in there, but it's a full draft class. Draft better than other teams, and you can find a Jake Gensel, a Brian Rust in a middle round. You can find even a Chris Letang in a middle round. And if you already have solidified yourself with young goaltending, then you don't have to be investing picks at that position, only the most important position. Now, none of this changed with the McGroarty acquisition. None of it. Well, other than that small detail that he's a better prospect than Braden Yager and that he's closer to the NHL than Yager and thus can help Sid. But the rest of it, all of it was there. It just needed. You might even remember, I brought this up probably about 3 or 4 weeks ago on this show, that Dubas needed to make some kind of statement. And I meant like a written or verbal one, letting people know, letting season ticket holders, letting the most passionate fans know what the Penguins' mission is now, what they're trying to achieve. Well, turns out he made the statement in another way. He went and got some of it done. Now you can see it. You can see him. He's right there. He's going to be in camp. He's real. The whole thing is real. I very much understand, believe me, why these people have really enjoyed the past week. When we come back, J1Q. Today's J1Q comes from TB, who says, DK, do you believe the Winnipeg Jets, all things being equal, and Rutger McGroarty never asking to be traded and agreed to sign and whoever and whatever, do you believe the Jets would have made this trade with the Penguins straight up? I love this question on so many levels. I can't even begin to share with you how much I love this question. Because, listen, this isn't a Winnipeg show, but you guys know I have a long-time sentimental attachment to that city, and I have a lot of friends there. And I hear from them, and I especially hear from them at times whenever there's any sort of interaction between the Penguins and Jets. So know in advance that I say this lovingly, but a lot of my friends there have lost their minds in the past few days because they have taken what is an L for the Winnipeg franchise and tried to spin it into a flat-out, decisive W. They've done this in print, they've done this in podcasts, and you'd better believe they've done it all over social media. They have sold themselves on Braden Yager. And listen, I'm all in on Yager. I hope he does wonderfully. Just a terrific kid. Big smile on his face, loves the game, endless energy on the rink, and he possesses the single most valuable trait this beautiful sport has ever known, in that he can score goals. He's a natural. He will score goals in Winnipeg, and he will make people happy there. That said, he is not the prospect that McGroarty is. And it is not just because McGroarty's a year older and can show up and play right away. That's not it. I'm going to try to put this in Florida Panthers terminology. Hear me out on this. And I'm not likening either of these players' potential to the two I'm about to mention. It's more about their styles. If you say that McGroarty is a Matthew Tkachuk kind of player, then you would say that Yager is a Sam Reinhart type of player. And they both have value to the Panthers. They both had immense value this past season. Tkachuk was the heart and soul. Reinhart got the game winner in Game 7. But now, you tell me, you're Bill Zito or you're someone high up in Florida's hockey operations, and you get presented with a situation where you say one of them has to go. Can't keep them both. You're keeping Tkachuk. You're keeping Tkachuk 100 times out of 100. And don't even make me do Tkachuk versus Alexander Barkov. Now, because I'm sure someone will misinterpret this, maybe on purpose. No, I am not comparing McGroarty to Tkachuk in terms of what kind of player he's going to be. If he was half of Tkachuk, the Penguins should be ecstatic. But I'm talking about certain traits that are very, very difficult to duplicate in hockey, to find in hockey. And oh, by the way, impossible to develop in hockey. You're either one of those or you're not. I remember Kevin Stevens talking about a very young Darius Kasparaitis, referred to him in that Boston accent of his as a gamer. He's a gamer. Look at him, he's a gamer. Why? Because somewhere in Lithuania, Kasparaitis was born a gamer. This kid oozes that. And there's very much a reason the Jets wouldn't have made this trade in a million years to finally answer your question, TB, if not for the circumstances dealt them. I appreciate the question. I really do. I appreciate everybody who listens to Daily Shot of Penguins, especially on a fun week like this. We'll be back with another one Monday.